we're going to talk about hands. Hands and many hands and all kinds of hands, because originally Buddha had one face and two hands, and all of a sudden in Tibet, 1,000 hands, 4 hands, 4 arms, 6 armed, and it's just so many hands and so many implements, and and a lot of people say, "Oh God, Tibetan Buddhism is not pure, it's not real Buddhism." What's with all these many-handed deities, and some more many hands and many colors and naked, fire, fierce, fangs, and copulation, and you name it, and those gods do it. Those Buddhas in Tibet do it. So are they Buddhas? What are they? And why are they like that? Why is Vajrayogini Buddha naked and not wearing? It's like pornography or something. It's like pornography of Buddhists. And so what happens is that there's a very deep meaning, and we're not going to go through every single one because it's going to take weeks. But we'll use Avalokiteshvara as an example. How wonderful. Chenso Kwanyin Posa. This is the form of Avalokiteshvara that is very much the patron of Tibet. Same as it is the patron of China. And it's very much Avalokita. In this form, we call Avalokita, the one that looks upon you with compassion. Compassion meaning what? He wishes to relieve you of your sufferings, and he has the methods. He wishes to relieve you of your sufferings, and he wishes to free you of your unhappiness. And listen to this, he has the methods, and he has the skills. So his method and skills are intangible. No form, no physical body qualities that exist yet cannot be perceived. So a Buddha, to represent that, to show you that he has these qualities and he can do that for you, the hands spring forth. So the multi-level of hands represent his multifaceted, skillful ways of liberating us. Because there's not one method. There's not two methods. There are hundreds of methods, thousands of methods to bring sentient beings out of their current state of unhappiness. So, when a Buddha has such skillful means and great compassion to help us, and they have not one means, they have many, many means for all of us, because each one of us is different and unique, and we have different karmas. So we have to use different approaches for each person, different ways. So it's like different hands. You can't use the same one for the same person. It's different hands. So the skillful means of an enlightened being is represented by multi-faceted or multi-arms. The skillful means. So many arms of a deity represents the many methods available to them to help us. And what position their hands are held in. What position their fingers are held in, their hands, are called mudras. M-U-D-R-A-S. Mudras are the specific hand gestures or positions that the deities hold to symbolize and represent what that particular deity can do for us. Because each deity has their specialty. Each Buddha has their specialty. Therefore, having different hand gestures and different symbolism, when you worship, pray, meditate, and focus on this Buddha, the very gestures that are shown to you by their hands will be the very qualities you immediately receive when you achieve this Buddha. So many hands represent many skilled ways that a Buddha can reach you in your heart and to avoid you from negative states in this life and negative results in future lives. Commit to what? Commit to yourself. Commit. And the many arms represent that. The position of the arms represent the scope. The mudra represents what method they will use to help you. This particular need. And what they hold is the actual attainments you will achieve. So many arms has that representation. So there are many deities with many arms. It will be too numerous to go through. So I'll just use this, and you can get a glimpse of what's going on. So the 1,000 arm Kuan Yin Posa, is representative that Kuan Yin is the combined synthesis of the compassion of 1,000 Buddhas that will appear in this era. Shakyamuni is the 4th Buddha. The next one is Maitreya. Lama Tsongkhapa is the 15th Buddha that will appear. Vajrapani will be the last. So in this golden era, this renaissance in this aeon, 1,000 glorious Chakravatin Buddhas will appear to teach the Dharma, to help us, to assist us. Each Buddha that appears, they have a time span of their teachings, how long it will survive, dependent on our merits in that era, in that place. So each Buddha will appear. So the 1,000 armed Kuan Yin Posa represents that if you worship Avalokita, Kuan Yin, if you worship, it is equivalent to worshiping 1,000 Buddhas. And when you meditate and you recite the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, of 1,000 Kuan Yin Posa, it is equivalent in tapping into the compassionate energy of 1,000 Buddhas and making a connection to them. 1,000 Buddhas. And on top of that, the 1,000 arms represent the many skills and facets and abilities we can develop if we generate compassion. See, if we're compassionate, we never give up on someone. If we're compassionate, we never let go. If we're compassionate, we never give up and let go, and we're consistent for people. And even when people retaliate or they give up on you, you don't give up on them. So the 1,000 arms always represents the many ways that a master, a teacher, a Buddha will bring you onto the path. And the arms outstretched represents his scope. What's the scope? The scope is it's always ready to catch you. The hand is always outstretched for you. No matter how you act toward the Buddhas, the Kuan Yin, no matter how you treat Kuan Yin, no matter how you treat a living Kuan Yin, your guru, no matter how you treat them, their hands are always outstretched for you. They're always ready for you because they have achieved Kuan Yin's compassion. So the outstretched hands represents their scope of their mind. What's the scope of the mind? Is that in normal everyday life, when people hurt us or reject us or ignore us, we do the same back, maybe double. But in the ultimate reality is that brings us unhappiness. So the ultimate method is to forgive and to return their harm with compassion. And that's not easy, but it will be easier than if we keep bringing harm to people that harm us, because then the cycle never ends. It never ends. And we just waste our life doing that. So the 1,000 arms of Kuan Yin is a skillful method in which the Buddhas bring the Dharma to us. And it represents the compassion of 1,000 Buddhas to appear in this fortunate aeon. That Avalokita is a synthesis of all of that. So there's no other way for peasants or normal people that doesn't have much wisdom to remember that. So in symbolic form, when that is made, it's easier to remember. So the next time when you see that, you'll know, you'll understand. It's not just an image with a lot of arms. Wow, how exotic. You'll know what it means. And you know that the meaning is deeper than this. Deeper. And whether the image is beautifully made or beautifully crafted or not old or whatever, you're going to respect it because the symbolism is talking about something very high. Very, very high. And the outstretched hands represents the openness of the Buddha to accept you as you are. And no matter how you treat them, they are always ready to help you. And they'll always be there. And they will not give up on you. Even in this life, years they won't give up. And maybe if it extends into future lifetimes. That's if you have the fortune to meet your guru again. Or a guru, full stop. So the extension of the hand is a great openness and acceptance of who you are and how you are, and to skillfully guide you. Great compassion. Great, great compassion. And each hand has an eye. Each 1,000 arm has an eye on it, representing complete awareness of what you need. Ever watchful, ever watching you, ever gazing upon you, and ever alert to your needs, and to find the methods that benefit you. The eyes on the hands represent that. And then you can see implements here. In the case of the hands folded together, it's not an empty fold. It holds a wish-fulfilling jewel. The wish-fulfilling jewel is that when we gain the 8 verses of thought training, when we have gained compassion, we will be like a wish-fulfilling jewel for other people. When people are sad and unhappy, they listen to us, they become happy. And when they're ready for ultimate methods of happiness, we can teach that to them and guide them and help them without arrogance and pride, with humility and love. And that wish-fulfilling jewel means it fulfills our wishes. And when it guides us on a normal way, all other supernormal ways will fall its way. So the wish-fulfilling jewel that Avalokita holds means that compassion is like a wish-fulfilling jewel. And when we achieve that compassion, and we will be like a wish-fulfilling jewel. Check yourselves out when you're in a good mood, when you're happy, how many people you can help. And when you help, how does it feel? People are grateful to you. Even if they're not grateful, you're grateful to yourself because you're a good person. And other people recognize it. And so the more our compassion grows, the more scope or more people or more amount we can help, and the more we can take. So instead of being a user, a taker, a parasite, or someone that just, is going to end up in the 3 lower realms, we become a wish-fulfilling jewel. We become a real wish-fulfilling jewel, and that arises from compassion. And therefore, Avalokita, in any form, will hold that at the center instead of peripheral. Why? Because that's the purpose of developing compassion. To benefit others and to give them what they need, skillfully. That is the most precious, that is the goal, that is the purpose of Buddhistic practice, as represented by the holy student of Buddha, Avalokita. And this hand holds a long life vase, that when you practice Avalokita, this particular deity, the causes for you to have an early death will be removed. You can extend your life through this practice. And the reason you extend your life, so you can have more women, more men, more cars. No, the reason you have, so that you can bitch more. The reason you extend your life is that it's very hard to get another life. It's very hard to get a quality human life. It's very hard to meet the good circumstances. It's very hard to have what we need. Again, it's a chance. It's very hard to meet a lama, a teacher. It's very hard to find all the circumstances necessary to have what we have right now. Punsun Toba, all auspicious. It's very hard. And if we use mind games to avoid it at this time, what's the purpose of a long life? Then a long life will be used for collecting more negativity, more unhappiness. We see a lot of people who are older, very bitter, very unhappy, creates a lot of unhappiness around them and die in very unhappiness. And what they've done and what they left behind, the legacy, is that the family fights with each other. They create more and more unhappiness. So when we practice Avalokita, we get long life to practice, to purify, to be a more benefit to others. Because the longer we can live with compassion, the longer we can influence others. We all wish for His Holiness to live very long. We all wish for people that are kind to live very long. So that is when we do this practice, we gain that. And on the ultimate sense, we gain immortality, the deathless state. What is that? Enlightenment. There is no death in enlightenment. There is no end to enlightenment. So through Avalokita, immediately you extend your life, and ultimately you get the deathless state of enlightenment. Then he holds a bow and arrow. A bow and arrow is completely contradictory to Avalokita. And the reason he holds that is to show you that for some people, we need to use wrathful means, more fierce means, more direct means. So when we use more fierce and direct means, it comes from what? From hatred, anger, revenge? No, it comes from compassion. So sometimes compassionately we need to tell someone off, to let them know the truth after we develop a relationship with them, so that it prevents them, after you've patiently told them many times, to go into that direction that will bring more harm. So the bow and arrow held by Avalokita means, out of great compassion, even if he has to use skillful, wrathful means, he will out of great compassion. Like a loving mother who furiously scolds her errant child out of great love. And he holds a mirror. This is not a bell, this is a mirror. It is a mirror. And the mirror represents the highest form of enlightenment. The highest form of attainment, which is a necessary ingredient of enlightenment. The realization of the ultimate truth, that all things are not dual. We think all things are dual, not all things are dual. All things exist. All things exist not as we see it. There's no dual truth. So looking into the mirror is looking at reality, looking at you yourself, who you are. So when the Avalokita holds that mirror, it represents penetrative insight, penetrative wisdom, which if you practice Avalokita, he will open your mind, open your winds, open you to receiving penetrative wisdom and knowledge. And he will lessen the negative karma that avoids you from getting knowledge and practicing so that you can get penetrative wisdom, penetrative, that cuts through all your projections that are the causes of your unhappiness. And here he holds a mala. As I said earlier, he holds a mala. And the mala he holds is crystal. It's a beautiful crystal mala, glowing. And that is to let you know that this state of compassion cannot be achieved by only listening and admiring and praising and offering, but it must be applied, application. So a mala is symbolic for application of the Dharma. Why? Because you actually have to do something. You have to move it. It's not like a mirror, you just hold it. So when he holds a mala, he is gently blessing you and reminding you to do practice, to apply. What you've heard, apply. If you apply, you can reach the state. That's how he did it. So he's letting you know that that's how you must do it, compassionately. And his hand is not like that, gesturing to you. It's very gentle, holding it gracefully, meaning very kind heart to remind you again and again to do practice, to be aware. Awareness and practice is the key. And it's held very high. It's in one of the principal hands to represent that it's very important to have awareness and practice. Consistency. All right? So this side, you see a lotus. And the lotus, as I said earlier, is very easy. Represents a state that Avalokita has achieved and which you will achieve if you practice purity. Where you can come into this world, or any world, and you can look like the people around you, talk and eat and act like the people around you, but you're totally different. So you can be among the dirt and the samsara and the delusions, unaffected by it, rise above it, but still be in it. So high incarnations and high lamas, they can reincarnate purposely again and again and again and again, and live in our world, have the same sufferings as we do, and be a living example of how they overcome their sufferings through life, through practice, through application. To give you an example, to show you, you can too, to be an inspiration. And high lamas don't need to be Tibetan. High incarnations don't need to be Tibetan. They manifest all over the world with the name, without a name, male and female, low and high, rich and poor, and they can manifest even as animals to inspire other animals. All over, because compassion is unending, and the suffering of beings is unending, and the number of beings are numberless. So therefore, the lotus represents the state that he has achieved. Therefore, he is a proper object of refuge. You can trust Avalokita. You can believe, you can let go and trust. And therefore, also on a deeper level, you can let go and trust in compassion and that it works. And you can achieve that state. And he's letting you know in his principal arm that that is the principal method in which he operates and takes you to enlightenment. The destruction of anger. The destruction, immediately curtailing destruction of anger, which is the cause of all our happiness and the biggest enemy to happiness, mental peace. So when you look at Avalokita and when you make prostrations, you are prostrating to everything here that it represents, now that you know what it represents. So when you prostrate, make offerings of light and incense and prayers, and you meditate in front of a holy image of Avalokita, it has much more symbolism, much more value. Why? You already believe it's holy. Everybody in this room respects Avalokita and totally love. Kuan Yin, the same thing, exactly the same. But when you know the symbolism behind it and what the message Avalokita is giving you, it's even more deep, it's even more profound. And therefore, each arm, each implement, each position represents a facet of enlightenment. And then the last one here is open hand. This hand is the same thing as Tara has. This hand is the mudra of giving. Jina, the paramita of giving. So Avalokita will always give and never run out. Will always give on the highest level of dharma. Like a guru, always give the dharma. That's the highest giving you can give anyone. It's better to teach people how to make money than just give money and then, because you might run out. And it's better to teach people how to plant crops than just give them a loaf of bread. So like that, giving on the highest level is dharma, real dharma, motivated by compassion. No other motivation but compassion. And also giving you freedom from fears, freedom from the lower realms, freedom from negative states of mind, and most importantly, freedom when we die, what will happen to us. And Avalokiteshvara standing up represents his ever readiness to help and assist, and represents that as a compassionate being, we will push ourselves to break our backs backwards to help others. That we will do whatever we can, day and night, in sickness, in happiness or not, and whatever our situations, that when someone calls us to help, we will go and help. We will do that. So beings that have reached compassion, they break themselves backwards and they push themselves to the limit to help others. Why? It's not painful for them. It's painful if they don't push themselves and do it because they know someone else will suffer. So they make incredible efforts. Incredible. If they need to be humble to you, to apologize to you, they will. If they need to be wrathful with you, they will. If they need to give you gifts, they will. If they need to give you dharma, they will. If they need to have lunch with you, they will. They'll do anything so that you don't suffer. So this ever readiness to be available to help is developed from many lifetimes, a cultivation on compassion. And this standing posture of Avalokita represents the ever readiness to help. So when we take refuge in Avalokiteshvara, that's the ability we will gain. Incredible. And we never give up on anyone or anything. All sentient beings are like a precious gem. And especially those of violent nature, negative disposition, negative karma, controlled by their delusions and illusions. We'll see them as a being that we need to take care of even more instead of pushing them aside, because we know that they're going to end up somewhere very nasty. So compassion is not based on how they react back to us. Compassion is based on not wanting them to end up horribly. And that's real compassion. To take care of people that actually scorn us and harm us and cheat us and lie to us, and to forgive them. And in return to their harm, help them. Why? In the end, you win, you become a Buddha. And then you can help even more. So it's not selfishly motivated. So the standing posture has a lot of meaning. And the royal raiments of Avalokita, he wears the royal raiments, R-A-I-N-M-E-N-T-S, raiments of royalty, of a king, a prince. A king and prince wear the best clothes, the finest clothes, silks and jewelry and ornaments and armlets and anklets. And they're perfumed with camphor and beautiful musk and saffron because they're royal. So when Avalokiteshvara has this beautiful body with ornaments, beautiful ornaments, and beautiful clothes and raiments, representing that everything in samsara, although he doesn't wish for it, he gets out of his compassion. So he gets the best, and he uses that to benefit others. And he has 11 faces. 11 faces. The 11 faces tiered culminate in the topmost face. 11. So, actually 10 are his, but one is not him. So the 10 faces represent the 10 directions. 4 cardinal directions and the 4 intermediate directions. That's 8, up and down. All beings of the 10 directions are watched by compassion and need compassion. All beings of the 10 directions need to be helped and assisted. And someone who becomes Avalokiteshvara or Avalokiteshvara has the ability to look into the 10 directions and perceive every sort of suffering and find a method and find the right time to help those beings. So his compassion and his love and his Buddha nature pervades the 10 directions without limit. In the topmost head is his guru, Amitabha. The topmost head is that he didn't go and cut his guru's head off and put it on top, No, it's not some tribal worship here. A Buddha cannot die, so he emanates a form of his guru, and he puts it on the topmost part of his head to show the deepest respect that I have achieved enlightenment through my guru's golden instructions. So he shows great respect. Even him who has achieved Buddhahood will show respect to his guru to show where it came from. And then the head right before the topmost, all of them are really nice, 9. The 10th one here is a little fierce, which means even in his compassionate state, he still uses Wrathful means when it's necessary to tame beings who are very wild disposition and hostile situation. He will use those means. And he's white in color. Beautiful. White in most cultures represent purity. So his white skin is not normal white skin. It's not like us, we put Fair and Lovely and we put all kinds of creams, it becomes white. Or, we have a Michael Jackson kind of white. Okay. No, not that kind of white where it's ghostly and pale and looks like we've been eating chalk. It's the kind of white where it's a snow mountain. It's a snow mountain like Mount Kailash with pure white snow. And the sun hits it. And the sun hits this, and the reflection of that white coming out is the color of his beautiful skin. Ablaze and bright. Very difficult to look upon. And it blazes from every pore of his body into the 10 directions, representing the power of compassion. That is what heals. That is what's beautiful. That is what's excellent. That is what's wonderful. So his beautiful white body doesn't represent the color or his race or his skin. It represents his state of mind. So also, this particular Buddha uses the method of peace to attain Buddhahood. Some use the method of anger. Some use the method of lust. Some use the method of increase. Different Buddhas use different methods to bring us because it's our prevailing necessity. So if we have a lot of anger, we get angry easy, we get frustrated easy, we're very impatient, we'll be attracted to Avalokita because he has that vow. For these type of people, may I help them. So people who love Kuan Yin are people who are very violent, or people who are very hostile, or people who have a lot of anger and have no patience, and they skip here and there. They'll be naturally attracted to Avalokita, which is beautiful because he manifested specifically to counter these type of people. Tara is jealousy, miserliness. Vajrayogini would be lust and desire, an attachment to sensual pleasures. So they all have their specific, it doesn't mean they can't hear or heal our other negative qualities. It just means that through that they heal everything, but they use our immediate, most prominent problem to solve all our problems. So that is in short, all right, a description of the 1,000 armed Avalokita, arms, implements, and what they represent. Much deeper than that, but I gave you enough that you can understand. So at least when you see it, you can respect it very much. And similar to other deities who hold the same instrument. And the color, the iconography, the face, the number, the position, the standing, the mudra, even the position of the hand. Everything I have explained to you.